if there is question during the presentation.
That would be great, Florence. I would really appreciate that. So I'm going to go a little bit over maybe how we can, because I didn't know how many parents to expect, so I did like have a few guidelines, I guess, for this meeting, even though it might be, maybe it's going to be much more informal. But if you just joined the meeting, I think it would be helpful to us to just know at least which grade level is your child or your children are, and if you could just put the name of the teachers, that way it's helpful if you have further questions and we know how we can reach out to the teacher or how we can get back to you. Okay, so I just wanted to kind of like state some of our meeting goals. So the goal of this session is really to provide some guidance on academic resources, the academic platforms that we are currently using in the school, so CISO, Google Classroom, Freckle, yes, so far that's it. We can also, the goal is to provide some guidance on supplemental academic resources. Is that something you're interested in? General academic guidance for parents who have children in pre-K and K. And then basically like answer any questions that you have related to academic and curriculum. So the kind of like, I call this meeting agreement because I didn't know how many parents to expect. So right now it's a small number. So I think we'll be okay if you just want to unmute yourself to ask questions. But if not, it's totally fine. If you have a question and you want to ask it in the chat, like if you already came with specific questions, you can already like put them in the chat. That way we can address them basically in order. We will, so the goal of this meeting, like I said, is to address academic questions, any questions related to curriculum, academic resources. If you have like feedback that you want to provide with regard to academics, those are welcome. You know, of course, we are looking for constructive feedback. And then I just want to point out like early on right now that we will not be addressing questions really related to logistics, or like if you have questions with regard to reopening plans, we don't really have like, we can't really address those at this point or in this meeting. And also if it's like IT issues in general, you're welcome to put some comments in the chat, but like typically this is the IT team that answers those questions. However, we will answer questions that anything related to the platforms that are used in the classrooms, we will answer those. And if you have like concerns about specific teachers or programs, this is not really like the place to address those. I strongly encourage you to reach out to your teacher. And on my next slide, I'm going to be showing you also, if you're not sure who to contact, if you have concerns or if you have questions, I'm going to just quickly go over the contact list for Pattern in case you're not sure. So that's my next slide. And then don't worry, I will stop talking really quickly and give you the opportunity to ask questions. I just wanted, this is just a quick reminder of the Pattern, the main contact list for Pattern. So I will be sharing also this presentation. So we'll find a way to give you the presentation. Also, what's been if I click on the link, if I click on the title, actually. I don't want to do it now because it's going to then open a new window, but basically you have a PDF document with all the contact lists for Pattern. This contact list has been communicated every week in Être à la page. So if you receive Être à la page, you have access to this contact list, but it's very useful because you have like, for what type, for like which questions, who should I contact? So it's pretty useful. So my list is much smaller because that's, I just wanted to do one slide. So those are like the main people, basically, just a basic reminder. Of course, your main contact is really your child's or your children's teacher. Then for any questions about logistics, like policies or like concerns in general, those should be addressed to the principal, Daniel Dufauchard. If you have questions about IT, because I know like this is happening a lot right now, like if you have connectivity issues, if you have like questions about like accounts, password, things like that, you can email the IT department. And now we have also, for the past 2 weeks, we've had a new IT coordinator for Patton, and his name is Josh Meto. So, I mean, I'm sure in English you pronounce it differently. So Metho, I don't know how you pronounce his last name. So you can also reach out to him. Okay, if you have any questions about the French curriculum or like websites that we use, anything for French, you can reach out to me. So I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Sophie Capmartin. I'm the director of académiques. And of course, you can reach out to Yassa AC, who is the instructional coordinator for Patton and who is French also. So he's also in charge of anything that's related to the French curriculum. For English language, so like if you have questions, for example, about Lexia, even though we don't really use it, I mean, pre-K, it's limited, but you can reach out to Annie Nearing, who is the humanities coordinator. And for STEM, if you have questions about STEM, I know like some teachers already use PreK4 in kindergarten. You can reach out to Samantha Crozier. Anything related to behavior or school culture, it's Marie-Isabelle Potts. And then finally, because we just started, even though, I mean, it doesn't apply really technically to pre-K and K, but if you have kids in other grade level and you've applied to the tutoring program, you can reach out to Mary Devon Dupuis and she can answer all of your questions. So, okay.
Sophie?
So, yes. Question already?
There is already a question about attending school.
Okay, I'm looking at it. So, state mandates for attending school is jobs or travel interfere with attendance. So we are mandated by this, and then like, you know, like again, I can answer some of the question when it really relates to logistics, and like, so attendance is more like a logistic question. I can provide some answers, but Danielle Dufaucha would be the best person. But for attendance, we are mandated by the state to take attendance. Our attendance policy, you know, was communicated a few weeks ago. So it is available on the website. So the question is really basically if, you know, if my child is kind of like absent sometimes, is it going to be a problem for attendance? Is that the question? Could you? Oh, I can't hear you. I think you would need to unmute yourself. Marcus.
How about now?
Yes, that's good.
Oh, super. Thanks for putting it on. Sorry. Yeah. As soon as you said logistics is for Danielle, I understood it might be an overreaching question, but just curious now that things are kind of changing, I suspect. Just wonder if we might be able to keep up virtually if we have latitude to, you know, maybe, you know, travel or explore work opportunities while maintaining a residence here in New Orleans. That was my main question. Yeah,
I don't know if I can like answer to your specific case, like, you know, like how the attendance policy was kind of like flexible, you know, because we understand that everybody is like in a very different situation, an unusual situation at this point. So like, I'm not like, is also your question asking if we are going to still be doing remote learning?
Yeah, do you think it's going to extend past the school year?
Yes, it's definitely, a new dynamic? Yeah. The remote learning is going to remain it's definitely going to remain an option. You know, like we're still in a very strange. So if you choose, you always have the option to keep your kids in remote learning, and then basically like it's kind of like the attendance policy takes into consideration participation into live sessions as well as completing activities. So for example, if your child is not able to attend live classes, but is able to complete like the independent activities that are usually done with the teachers during live sessions, then it counts for attendance basically.
I see.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, a lot. And I think you're speaking to this year. Any thoughts about projecting past this year?
You mean in 2021?
Yeah.
2021, 2022?
To be honest, the school is a real anchor for our residency here. It kind of keeps us considering staying in New Orleans. So just curious.
No, I can't answer that question. I don't know if like maybe leadership has some. I've already thought about it, but like personally, I cannot answer that question.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Okay, so that was our first question. And Marcus, could you just remute yourself? It just makes it easier for once we're done. So. Based on my experience, because I had some academic sessions over the summer, like some parents don't necessarily have questions. So I did prepare a presentation that I think would cover, something that I think are important. We do not have to follow the presentation at all. We're also very lucky that we have Madame Florence with us. So Madame Florence, she's waving right now. She is one of our PreK4 teachers, so she will also be able to answer questions that are related to like the platforms that we use. So in pre-K, but typically it's the same in kindergarten, and then all the curriculum questions. Sorry, my kids got back from school, so. Okay, so the agenda that I had prepared, just to give you a general idea, is I kind of wanted to say a few words on what is l'école maternelle. So l'école maternelle is PreK4 and Kindergarten. So just since I have some parents here, I kind of wanted to remind what it is, because it's very specific to the French educational system and it's very unique. So I just want to, it's not going to be long, I just want to say a few words about that. And then, hold on, oops. Okay, and then we're going to jump into some, I think, important topics, because they keep coming back, like based on like parents' email that I can see. Just some very basic reminders on how to navigate Google Classroom. I know it's always difficult. Maybe then Florence will talk a little bit of how you can navigate Seesaw, and then maybe how you can your child can answer an activity if we need to provide any clarification about that. And then I'm going to present some French resources that you can use at home. So I have different categories. Actually, I was pretty ambitious and I probably have too many. So I'm not going to have time to go over everything. However, everything is on the PowerPoint and it's all hyperlinks. So once I share my PowerPoint, you will be able to access all the resources. I have a point about tips and tricks to navigate French websites, because, we tend to recommend French websites where everything is in French. However, it can be challenging for non-French speakers to navigate those websites. So I have a few advice on how it can be easier for parents to navigate on those websites. And then finally, it's always important. We have a big school website, and we already have a lot of French resources on the website, and actually other resources as well. And I have a few slides about how you can find those resources. And then I'm also following the question on the chat. So, I'm following up on the remote. So one parent is asking, following up on the remote learning question, will remote learning have a separate track, or will it be a live streamed for each class? So it's Rochelle. So Rochelle, I cannot answer that questions precisely at this point. As soon as the school are basically Mrs. Dufauchard as the finalized plan, she will communicate those. What I can say for sure is that there will always be a remote learning option. And then second question, when we go to the section for French resources, I have a question about the Minimax. Okay, she has a question about subscription. Okay, great. Okay, so I'll make sure, Sarah, that we get to the point where you can, I go a little bit about the subscriptions. Okay, so just a quick reminder about l'école maternelle. And actually, this information is, I think it's useful in general, because you do have your child in the French school, so I think it's useful to know how the French system works. But it's also useful actually when you are navigating on French websites, because a lot of times they use the term cycle 1, or then they use the acronyms for how we name the different pre-K classes and kindergarten. So École maternelle is also called cycle 1. We have 3 levels. Each cycle is 3 years in France. We have petite section, which is pre-K 3. We have grande section, which is pre-K 4. And then we have grande section, which is pre-K 5. So we have 3 levels. Each cycle is 3 years. In France, we have petite section, which is pre-K 3. We have grande section, which is pre-K 5. Moyenne section, which is PreK4. So if your child is currently in PreK4, your child is in moyenne section. And if your child is in kindergarten, your child is in grande section. So this is cycle 1. So this slide it's just like the very generic goals of what is l'école maternelle. And the main goal of école maternelle is really to create the desire to learn and, you know, for the child to basically want to go to school. We also, there is a big emphasis on like, you know, social emotional well-being and like fulfilling each child's personalities. Of course, there is a strong emphasis on language proficiency, and this is even for like French students. There is a strong emphasis on oral language and discovering the written language. And then finally, the last point is like preparing for learning the fundamentals. So that's, you know, instead of calling it math, we call it like, I mean, this is my next slide, but how you basically build the main tools to structure your mind. Okay, I think I'm going to have to go close my door. Give me 1 second. Okay. Sorry. So the next slide is actually, if your child is, this is just like basically more of a visual presentation of the previous slide. So École Maternelle is really focusing on welcoming young children. Like a really, really strong focus in the French curriculum is about learning and living together in the French system. We call that becoming a student. This is really like a very strong focus, and then we want the students to learn how to become a student, basically. We want the children to learn how to become students. And then there is really a strong emphasis on the various ways of learning. There is a lot of like learning through games, learning through problem solving, learning through manipulation, and then also practicing, repeating, and memorizing, which is, of course, important since for our students, French is their second language. So you might have noticed on CISO, we have different domains. So those are like, we have 5 domains in the French system. First domain is language, anything that has to do with language. Second domain is physical activity. That's something that's very important in the French system. Then we have everything that's artistic is important. Number 4, that's the domain I was trying to refer to earlier. It's called nombre, forme, et grandeur. Those are the goal is to build the tools to structure one's thinking. And then finally, we have a very wide category that's called exploring the world. So anything that's typically in the US, we would call, you know, science or even like social studies. This is going to be in this category. So this is just like a very, very like general presentation of what is l'école maternelle. Okay, so now we get maybe in some like useful things, and then some of it you might already know. So please feel free to like ask any like questions that you have at the same time, or if you like, as I'm talking, if you have questions, like please feel free to add those questions in the chat. So as you know, we all use a Google Classroom. Okay, if I have one advice for Google Classroom is...
Sophie?
Yes?
Sophie, il y a une maman qui a une question qui doit partir bientôt sur l'anglais.
Okay, my question is, okay. Yes, so Jordan, okay, yes, you do. There is a so sorry, I should read the question. So the question is, my question is about English class for PreK4. I noticed different teachers reading them stories. Do they have an English teacher? Would that person be giving them live class if they were physically present? Will they ever have live English class? So yes, the answer is yes. There is one English teacher that is working with the French teacher. And then once we go back in the building, the students are going to have those classes with this particular English teacher. It couldn't happen with the with the distance learning format. So this is why you are seeing like different teachers right now sending different activities. But the answer is yes. And then if you want to know your who is the English teacher for your child, you can put in the chat who is your homeroom teacher, and I'll be able to let you know. Not immediately, but I can reach out to you afterward. So about the Google Classroom. So one advice, always go to the classwork tab. So you might have noticed the way Google Classroom is organized, it's a little bit like your stream, if you are like on Facebook or like on Instagram. The latest post appears on top, and then it goes down. So sometimes it's hard for parents to find the information. That's why you should go to the classwork tab. So I'm just going to click here because I just want to make sure that at least the parents that are here know how it works. So I'm going to click on here. This is actually, I think, a kindergarten classroom that I selected.
Sophie, on voit pas Google Classroom.
Oh, sorry. Yes, yeah, I'm going to switch. Sorry, I forgot to share the tab. Okay, so this is actually Madame Clémence's class, who is a kindergarten teacher. So when you get to Google Classroom, you can see like this is the stream. It says stream here on top. So the stream is actually difficult to navigate, because it's basically not organized. The posts are just organized from the latest post to the oldest post. So of course you can scroll down, whatever you want, but it's much easier to go directly to classwork. If you click to classwork here, on the left, you have the different topics. So those in Google Classroom, they are called topics. They are really folders. Those are the different topics that the teachers have. So the ones that you use, that you really need typically is like the date. So today, for example, today was jeudi 24 septembre. And so you would click on it and you would find anything that's related to today, right? So again, that's the main thing I wanted to say about Google Classroom is do not stay in the stream. Do not stay in the stream. Go in classwork, because in classwork, things are organized. If I have, do any of you have questions about Google Classroom? Any of the parents that's here?
Sorry, I have a kindergarten student.
Yes.
Does each teacher decide how they are organizing their classwork tab, or is there like an overarchingly say format for how they're titling things, how things are being grouped, that kind of thing?
Right. So there is an overarching. So the main thing is like there should be a daily topic, which should be bilingual, with the day in French first and the day in English. There should be a newsletter folder. There should be a schedule folder. There should be a tools or outils folder. And then I think typically at this point, sometimes it depends on the grade levels, they've added some rubrics. So for example, and Florence and Cécile, since Cécile is here, you can answer for pre-K, but I know that most of the kindergarten teachers have a song folder because they do so many songs. But yes, overall, there is like some basics that we ask teachers to have, but then they do have a certain flexibility if they feel like they need like a specific topic. There is also a STEM. I forgot to mention the STEM topic, which is where you're going to find all of the STEM videos, recordings, and activities that Miss Sam does. Same thing for music, sport, and SEL. Those are like in the two folders. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention those. Florence, do you want to add anything about the way Google Classroom is structured for pre-K4? Yeah, and I think I see your hand, Brianna.
Yeah. So no, I don't need to add anything.
Okay. Yes, Brianna.
I'm Jaden, Mom. I'm not sure how I end up with Brianna. I log in with Brianna.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I have a question. Actually, Okay, it's still the STEAM class. I can't not get that STEAM class together. As so far as right now, we gave up. I'm not sure why. The question is very specific. Why did she's not using Google Class? Because, for example, with Jaden, which is with Madame Florence, his tablet does not. Her links with the tablet doesn't work because she's using Zoom, which is very complicated.
Okay.
Because we're not using Zoom, and I have 3 kids, and she's the only teacher that uses Zoom, and I'm not sure why she's not using Google Class, which is much easier, and we are able to use the tablet or the phone or any device that we have in the house. And also, very important is that when we go to her class, she has like a TV, like a screen. Even if I get on with my husband's computer, we're still not able to see her screen, and she doesn't. I mean, I'm not complaining, but like I say, we are Spanish speaking, and like she doesn't interact with the kids as much as we would like to. I know it's very strong, but I just want to put it out there.
Thank you, Ms. Alvarez. I'm aware that there is a problem with the PreK4 students who are using iPads for the Zoom link. I know there is an issue, so we are working on that and seeing to how we can fix that. We kind of had to switch because there was some issues with the number of students being on during those classes. So we are looking into you know, how we can make it better for the STEM classes. But you know, like kind of like how I mentioned in the beginning, I don't really want to go into like issues with specific classes. I'm taking notes of what you're telling me, and then we are actually currently working on that. So you know, we'll make sure we'll take your feedback into consideration. Okay, so if I don't have any more questions on Google Classroom, the next point was, actually I'm going back to the presentation, was to, and I'm looking at time, it's already 4:30. Yes.
I don't know if this might be helpful information, but for Sonia, but so the STEM classes, as I understand it, the entire grade is invited to that class. So like kindergarten has the same time. So there are possibly 80 students on that class.
That's correct.
And it's very difficult to see all 80 students. And it's also very difficult to see the mute button for all 80 students. And so in Google Classroom, you are only able to mute one at a time. Whereas with Zoom, you can mute the whole room so that there's zero feedback from anybody's mic.
Right, thank you.
Like the first STEM classes were extremely hard to navigate because, you know, you have like a kindergartner wearing headphones and his mic is on, but nobody can turn the mic off for him. And that's happening like 20 times. So the Zoom link really helped to solve that problem. And that might be why.
Yes, that's one of the main reasons why we switched to Zoom for that specific reason, because it's much easier to control the different, like the mute button, basically. Also, the quality of the recordings on Zoom are like, the resolution is a bit higher than on, you know, Google Meets. So those are like two of the main reasons. Thank you. Madame Florence, do you want me to stop sharing my screen so you can talk about CISO, or how do you, yes?
Do you have something to say about CISO?
No, I guess I didn't. I guess we'll just, at this point, we'll just answer any questions related to CISO then.
Okay, so no, I can share my screen, but I wanted to know if you had, you know,
No, I didn't. No, I don't have anything for CISO.
Okay, so maybe I can share my screen and so my CISO account and just show how to navigate.
Yes, that would be great. I'm going to stop presenting. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Oops.
Oh, okay.
C'est bien parti. Wait. Ok. Attends.
In the meantime, maybe, are there any like specific questions about Seesaw? Like specific, like when, you know, when students need to turn in an activities or things like that? Either do we need to know if we need to clarify anything?
I have a general question about Seesaw assignments. Are they considered classwork or are they considered like required homework? Is it something that is affecting the scoring of my child's grades, or is it something that's supporting the learning that's going on in class?
So most of them are part of their classwork. So they are graded on completion, basically.
Can I present now? Okay. So I'm gonna present my screen, but this is the teacher's view. So I guess this is not exactly the same view as the student, but just to show you some stuff. Alors, attends. Can you see my screen? Okay. So when you go on Seesaw, you have, can you see the end? Okay, so when you go on Seesaw, you have like you have the categories in here. So if you have an activity, it would be like there would be a red number in here, and then you click on it, and then you can see all the activities you can do. And if you want to add, if you want to do the activity, you just have to click on add response, and then you can do the activity. You also have the inbox. So when you have red numbers, that means that I send stuff, so you can look at it. And something very important is at the top in here, you have two boxes. So this one is like the on Google Classroom, you know, on the stream. So it shows everything that goes each time we add something. And this one is the calendar. So if you want to see just a specific day, then you go on the calendar, you click on a day, for example, this one, and then you will see everything that has been done this day. So of course, you as a student, you won't be able to see the other student work, but you will see all the videos I posted this specific day, and also you will see the activities your student did this specific day. You also have the folders. So and then it's so in the folders you can find everything you are looking for, because if you are looking, for example, for a song and you don't remember the day I posted it, then you can go on song folder. Oh wait, I'm sorry. So you go in folder, you choose songs, and then you will see only the songs, and then you can sing along with your kids. And this is the same for everything, for all the folders. You go, you are looking for something, you look in the folders. That's it. Cécile, do you want to add something? No? Okay. So I'm done.
Okay, thanks, Florence. So it was just to do like a little, you know, it's always useful to have the people that use the most the app presenting it. So I'm going to continue on the slide. So the next few slides, and maybe I'm going to do just to make sure, because it's already 4:39, time is going by really quickly. I'm going to start by the end because Sarah had a question about subscription. So I'm going to go, I actually have an app with the subscription, sorry, is it here? Okay, so I guess that's okay. I'm just going to start with this slide. So I've created different categories. So this is a category about where to find books in French, okay? So most of the one I've listed are free because, you know, like who doesn't want any free resources, right? So since we are right now working with younger students in pre-K and K, a lot of the resources on this page are actually videos of books. Also, that means the books, it's still the book, right? But it's being read along and you can see the images at the same time. So if you click on each of the links here, so I have different sites, and then it's a lot of interactive books. So Beginner Readers has a lot of interactive books. Bookily is an app, so it's a Canadian app.
Sophie, you're not presenting.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, merci, thank you. Hold on, I apologize for that. Sorry, it is useful if you can see the name of the app, of the apps. I don't have too many pictures, but here it comes. Okay, and then once again, I'm going to share that PowerPoint so you'll have all of the links that are linked in there. So for the French books, we have Beginner Readers that has a lot of interactive books. And then again, those specific websites have been selected because they work for younger students. You know, if you have an older students, I would make different recommendations. Bookily is a Canadian app. It's great. It is if you are not. It's a little bit more challenging to use because everything is explained in French, so it can be a little bit challenging. But they've got a lot of resources there. Tagada Soin Soin. Actually, that's one of the PreK4 teachers' favorite. It is a YouTube. It's a YouTube channel that has books that are read aloud, and they are very great qualities. La Bibliothèque des Amériques is actually an online Canadian library. If you click on it, you're gonna have to register. It's pretty. It's not too difficult. You know, you would sign in, create an account, and once you create an account. So I'm going to click on it just to show you if my internet is fast enough. So you get on the website, you're going to click on the top right, Devenez membre du centre. Okay, so you click on it. I think I'm already a member, so I'm going to be able to go directly to the website. So, well, you would click on the first one. Oh, no, I'm the first one, sorry. So I'm going to click on it. I just want to show you that you can select books for young children. So you would go to Bibliothèque des Amériques. And sorry, I haven't been clicking on the tab. Well, anyway, I'm in the website. That's where I wanted to be anyway. So I'm on the website, and then you can, I should have, so then you would go on Catalogue, and then you can click on Livre numérique. And then what's great is that they do have a selection for young children. So I'm on the right tab. On the left here, you have the different ages. So what we want is jeunesse, you know, young audience. And then, you know, based on your, you know, you can put like, I guess for pre-K and K, I would select 5 ans et moins, 5 years old and less. Then you would click on it, and it's going to take you to their selection. And it's great because you can just have access to those books remotely. Those are interactive books. I believe that you can have up to 5 books at the same time, and it's entirely free. And it's accessible from the US. So sometimes some Canadian websites are not accessible from the US, but this one is. So I would, this is a great resources if you're looking for French books. You will have to read those books though. Those are not like read aloud. I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint. And so this was La Bibliothèque des Amériques. The next few websites, I have comptine.net, which also has a lot of recorded books, but also songs. Okay, I put École des Loisirs. École des Loisirs, unfortunately, is not free. You have to pay each time you want a book. It's like video books. You have to pay, it's about $3 per book. But those books, like I've still included it because those are like really great quality. So if you want to just have a few French books, those are great. I still put also Scholastic Canada because they have digital picture books. Those are like a little bit more expensive than the École des Loisirs one. And then finally, sorry, I have my thing. Okay, I wanted to touch base on the subscriptions. So for École des Loisirs, I can't remember. Maybe the teachers can tell me. Was the information sent about École des Loisirs already? Yes. Okay, they're shaking their head. So, Sarah, do you want to ask your question about the Minimax series?
Yes. So my question was about the difference between ordering as the group subscription through the school versus ordering individually with the code that was given. Is it similar to Scholastic books where the money spent on the subscription comes back to the school? Is there a reason why there's a school code? Can you explain a little bit how that works?
So it's not like Scholastics. However, if we reach a certain number of subscriptions, then the school gets free books. You know, so like we get like, I can't remember, I can't give you the number on top of my head, but like after a certain number of subscriptions, basically we get an extra set for the school. Then the main difference between the two, like, and I'm sure you noticed, like if you do the individual subscriptions, you get the book shipped directly to you. It's a little bit more expensive. And if not, it just gets shipped to the school and it's a little bit cheaper. And then, like I mentioned, if we reach a certain number, the school get a free set of that same collection, basically.
So with the school, you know, digitally running the way that it is, these subscriptions come to the school building. What's the plan about distributing those books once they arrive? Are they going to be available to us if we subscribe 1 month at a time, or are they going to kind of compile until the end of the year?
Like, I can't answer that specific questions. I know, like, for instance, we still had some books from last year that arrived, you know, because they, like you mentioned, it's one at a time. So, you know, you would start in November and then in December and then, you know, so I'm not sure if Danielle or Yasa has communicated about how those books would be given out to parents. I mean, like, basically, like, I don't know the exact protocol in which the books would be handled. So unfortunately, I can't answer to that question right now. I can, of course, relay the question and make sure that we provide an answer.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so it's 4:48. So I'm going to come back because I guess, and then once again, you'll have the PowerPoint so you can go over. My first slide was about apps or websites on which you can work on basic French vocabulary, because those are always useful, because since we have beginners right now. So Vocapic is a great vocabulary site. Classe d'accueil, so Vocapic and Classe d'accueil are all in French. Classe d'accueil is great if you want to kind of review some all the school vocabulary, you know, supplies, everything that you need at school. It's really cool. Literacy Center also has some great vocabulary. Bonjour les amis is going to be more like, it's a little bit more playful, I guess. You have some more, it's more like activities with themes. And then Samuse also is online games and activities to practice common vocabulary. Last year I discovered Mille Mots, the last one, and my next slide is actually only about Mille Mots. I think this is a really great app. So if you have an iPad, or even you can put it on your phone, this is a really, really cool app to work on vocabulary. So I think it's actually called 1000 mots GS. So if you remember, GS stands for Grande Section, which is kindergarten. If you have a PreK4, I think it's okay. You can still have it. It's going to be a little bit more challenging, but 1000 mots GS is really great. What I really like about this app is that you can listen, you can basically press on the word, on the image of the word, and then you can listen to the word as many times as you want. A lot of the websites I listed in the previous slide, also you always have the option to click on the image and the word and just listen to it, because at this point, early in learning the language, it's something that's really important. So it's really important that you don't learn a language by listening to a word one time. Repetition is very important. So, if you can just it's totally okay to repeat the same word 10 times. I also, if you're doing this, if you are going on some of those websites with your child, encourage them to repeat. You can also repeat. I know kids typically are more comfortable in repeating in a new language, but please do so. The more they're going to listen to the words and the more they're going to pronounce those words out loud, it's really going to be helpful. So yeah, so all of the websites here are really good, or apps. Next one is something that we focus a lot on in PreK4 and kindergarten, is really practicing our French letters. So the sound and the name of the letters, numbers, of course, because as you might have noticed, maybe French numbers are very difficult and are not super logic. And some phonics. This is more for our kindergartners here, even though they're probably not into phonics yet, but maybe you'll use those later during the year. So the first one is really you have a lot of activities. Then I have some alphabet activities that I selected. The one that's called Mi Set is really more for my kindergarten students. So maybe I should add a note, because this is really about identifying a sound. So for example, they're going to have a word, I'm going to say chat, and then you have to basically say if you can hear the phonic A in chat. So those kind of activities that we practice a lot in kindergarten. And then they also have some syllables activities. It's not super user. I mean, it's not that it's not super a fancy website. But it's a very useful one. So, Click Ma Class. It's also a lot of activities about French sounds. And then Abracadabra is a Canadian website which has a lot of alphabet and number activities. And this one is much more playful. You have little characters and things like that. And then the website Tout Petit, if you want also work on numbers and letters. So all on this page is really focusing on numbers and letters. So then we are back to our slide on books. Quickly, because I know we are close to our hour. Of course, you probably notice that we do a lot of nursery rhymes. I mean, nursery rhymes are great to learn a foreign language. I know your teachers right now are usually focusing on, there are specific reasons for which they are choosing the nursery rhymes. A lot of time it's because they work on specific phonics in the nursery rhymes, or, it's also the vocabulary aspect of it. So, of course, my first recommendation would be to practice the songs and nursery rhymes that your child is doing with their teachers. But if you have a child that really enjoy singing or singing along, all of those websites have great songs. Unless I specified it, it's usually a short video. So Le Monde des Titounis, it's on YouTube. Hugo Lescargot, I can't remember it's YouTube or not, but it's going to be videos also. Contine.net or Contine-net is audio only, but you can download the PDF, and usually there is a little image with it, and then you can also color it if you want. Contine TV is both, and then Web Instit is also going to be the audio, but you can print the text if you want. This one is just general websites about that you can use, and that are a little bit different. They have some cartoons usually. So Lumni is really my it's a really great website. It has some great short videos in French about any sort of subjects. I'm going to show you a little bit maybe about this one. I don't know if I'm going to have time about it. Logiciel éducatif also. So if you click on this one, this is directly the correct, because Logiciel éducatif is for all of the grade levels, but if you click on this link right here, it's going to be the one specific for PreK4 and Kindergarten, for maternelle. So you don't have to worry about finding the correct level. Boua et Koala, it's lots of games in French. Lulu la taupe. Then I have some, actually those are some recommendations from the PreK4 teachers and the K teachers from the summer resources. You have Les Monsieur Madame in cartoons. Petit Ours Brun, which is like a big French hit for kids, which is great. And then Les Belles Histoires de Pommes d'Api, which is probably more for kindergartners. I'm just going to show you Lumni real quick. So I'm going to switch to Lumni just to show you where to find the activities for PreK and K. It's not very difficult, but you just have to know where to find them. Or actually, it's already there because I already selected the PreK and K link for you. But in case you are lost in the website, just so you know, on the top here on the pink, you would pick primaire, because primaire is for primary education. And then you would select maternelle, because your child is in maternelle. So then you get into the maternelle section, and then you can pick different activities. So if I want something for langage, you would scroll down, and you have a lot of videos. Not all I want to say, so see, like for example, here I have Petit Ours Brun. Not all of the videos are going to be working. Sometimes we are a little bit restricted because of the geographic zones that we're in. But for example, here you have Petit Ours Brun. It's great. You know exactly how many minutes you want. You don't need to sign in. So, and then you can click. And then, you know, of course, the advantage of being in such like an educational platform like this one, it's not like YouTube where, you know, maybe your child can click on the link on the right. On this one, you know they're going to be like basically stuck here in Petit Ours Brun, or even if they switch to another one, they are going to be mostly educational videos. Okay, I think I'm going to go back to the presentation. I'm almost done with what I had. So my last thing is a little bit some tips and tricks on how to navigate French websites. Some of them we already talked about it. So the first one is if you were a parent last year, that's something we strongly recommended. If you're using Chrome, it's super easy to download the Google Translate extension. I think I forgot to put extension here. If you download the Google Translate extension, it will be super useful it's helpful to navigate the French website, because then all that you do is that you click on the little extension icon, and I can show it to you. I guess I would have to share my screen because I have it on my computer. Or you click on the little icon, and it's going to translate the page for you. So if you are on the French website and it looks like it's useful, but you don't understand where to go, you can just click on the Google Translate icon, and it's going to basically translate the page for you. It's a Google Translate translation, so it is not perfect, but at least it's going to give you an idea of what's going on that page. Sometimes I think it's okay. It's not really, that was more for first and second grade, because sometimes in the first and second grade websites, they give the instructions orally in French, and that's it. So this is a little bit complicated. So I would also recommend using a voice translator when instructions are given in French only. You have tutorials. It's not that complicated, but I've created some tutorials where it will explain to you how to use that. And then once again, this is just a repetition. That's what I was saying when I started the presentation. For you guys, a lot of the French websites are organized using the French system, and the French system is different. So for pre-K and K, you want to look at cycle 1 and so-called maternelle. So it's going to be MS or GS. And then if you have older children, you can use this table right here to help you navigate. Actually, I have more. This is like all the detailed explanation on how to install and use Google Translate. So it's all super details, and this is like about the voice translation. Can skip on this. No, and okay. And then the last 2 slides, but I'm gonna maybe stop there because it's 5, and I'm gonna see if I have some final questions. My last 2 slides are really about where you can find some resources on the school websites. So we still have the summer recommendations, and the summer recommendations are still great resources because the teachers made them, you know, the French and the English teachers made them, so you can still go see what's available on there. You have the link directly here. For general academic resources, you can go to the COVID-19 responses and resources, and we have a lot of academic resources in French, especially on there. And then if you want to know, like, this is a question I get a lot, like, what book can are there any, like, a reading list? Are there any recommended books? So on the LFNO websites also, and you have all the steps to get there, we have there is a cycle 1 recommended list for, like by the French Ministry of Education, basically. So if you really want to know, what French children in PreK4 and kindergarten are reading, you can refer to that list, and same thing, you have the links here. I think, yep, this is my last slide, actually. So it is 5:01, but I'm happy to take a few more questions if needed, and if not, don't worry, we'll share the presentation. So if you have any additional questions, and plus we have 2 PreK4 teachers right now with us, so we can use their expertise.
I do. I have a question. All these websites, I took a screenshot because I know it was gonna.
Yeah.
So all these, is it available to anybody? I mean, I know like some, like Seesaw or certain apps, you have to be in school and you have to have a certain code to get in. Or this is just general website that you can go?
Most of those are like general websites. You don't even need to register for the websites. I think the only one you need to register was the one La Bibliothèque des Amériques.
Right.
All the other ones are just accessible. You don't need any school email addresses or anything.
Perfect.
And most of them are free, except like the 2 ones where I put the price of the books.
Right, I got that one. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Do we have any more questions? Oh, okay, well, I guess we're gonna end up here. I hope it was useful. And I mean, if you have any further questions, or like after the meeting, if you think about any questions about, again, curriculum, French websites, please feel free to email me. And we will share the presentation very soon on the website, on the school website. Thank you very much for attending, and we'll see you soon. Au revoir.
Hi, Sophie.
Hi.
Hi, this is Rochelle.
Yes.
I'm Theo's mom, and
yes,
I sent you a letter a while ago, but I just wanted to, I guess I sent it on September 11th, but I just wanted to touch base with you. My son is in kindergarten,
Yes.
And he has 5 classes a day, where pre-K has 3, which is that's an extra hour and 10 minutes of live classes for my kid. Now, I've worked with his teachers, and I've come up with a way that that he's surviving now, where he wasn't before. But I just wanted to understand, what was the thought process between having such different schedules for pre-K versus K, and what sort of model are you guys following?
Right. So the main difference between pre-K and K is that in K we don't do nap anymore. In French schools, there is no more nap. So typically in pre-K4, even when we are in the school building, the instruction time is only in the morning. And then in the afternoon, most of the time in the afternoon, students are taking a nap. This is not the case in kindergarten. This is instructional time, after lunch, it's instructional time. So the idea was to, to keep a little bit of time of instruction in the afternoon, since, we do have limited interactions with the children. So with regard to models, as you might know, there are no models for distance learning for French immersion schools, unfortunately. Typically you don't learn in a second language remotely. So the idea was to provide as much of an immersion environment, as possible. We do understand that it's very challenging for the students. Everybody's aware of that. It's very challenging for the teachers as well. We are I'm meeting with the team regularly, and I'm using their feedback, which is actually why we already decreased the time of classes. What's very challenging with kindergarten is that they are learning so many important skills in both English and ELA, and the main difference right now, currently in pre-K, between pre-K4 and K, is that there are no live sessions of English in pre-K4. So all they have, basically, pre-K4 and K have the same time of live classes in French. It's basically 35 minutes session, but Kinder has more English. And, so that's like the main reason. And then I guess then it's difficult decisions. And then that's why, we're welcoming any feedback, is that you do have to decide, because it is important, even though we are an immersion school, it is research shows that the stronger the kids are in their first language, the easier they're going to be able also to transition some of their foundational early literacy skills into the second language. So it's hard to say, hey, we're going to cut off the ELA time to have more French time, because the kids do need their time in English. So it is,
what I struggle with in my family is the live instruction time. That working on our own pace is something that we can address. It's the live time with my kids sitting in front of the screen, which is most challenging. And it's a lot of screen time. We do maybe 3.5 classes after working with my son's teacher to figure out which classes are going to be most beneficial, and that's what he can handle. And long classes.
That's why we've been, any family situation is different, and any child is different, and any child is going to be learning in a different way. So we've been working with parents on adapting the plans. It's hard to have a plan that's going to fit all the needs of all the kids, and we are trying to do the plan that we think would work best. I wanted to add something else. I lost my train of thought. Sorry. I wanted to add something to your answer, but I lost track of what I was going to say. But I mean, I appreciate your feedback, and then you know, if there is other things we can do, you know, we're happy to work with you know, when parents reach out, we're happy to work with parents, and you know, hopefully we'll be back in the building soon.
Yes, yes, we're all hopeful. We're all hopeful for that. I mean,
you know,
I feel like it's got to be really hard on teachers, really, really hard on teachers right now. And we appreciate
yeah, it is. Thank you. We appreciate that. We know it's really hard on teachers. It's really hard on everyone. We know it's hard on parents. It's hard on students. It's hard on teachers. It's hard on administrators. So honestly, it's really hard on everyone, and it's hard if you are both. You know. Mm-hmm. So yeah. But thank you very much for this feedback, and I hope you find the presentation useful.
I did, and I just had one other question about hybrid models. Mm-hmm. Is that something that y'all are going to pursue? Is a lot of different groups, like the education school at Harvard put out a report that suggested that hybrid models might actually increase the spread of COVID, and so a lot of school districts are moving away from that model. Is that still something that Lycée is considering? I mean, hybrid model works fine for my family, but it may not work for others. So is that something that you're pursuing or not?
So, I mean, honestly, personally, like, and as I mentioned this in the beginning of the presentations, I don't really have any updates on the plans for reopening. I guess if you have any specific questions, those will be for like the principal or even for Marina, because those are like, you know, top leadership questions. But I'm sure they will provide some information very, very soon on the plans for coming back.
Super. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you for attending.
Thanks.
Okay, just a minute. Okay, I'm going to stop presenting, and I'm going to stop recording. And